So I'm logged in as a buyer/planner in this particular demonstration, and I'll use my global search within NetSuite to go ahead and look up a purchase order that I created previously. So what we're looking at here is a purchase order that's already been approved by my supervisor and is in a status of approved by supervisor pending receipt. Within NetSuite, there are some very robust approval processes that can be established. What we're looking at here is a purchase order for a simple vendor, in this particular case, raw material vendor number one. But you can see here we've got a SKU or an item, and these are just some pants that are in color gray and extra small. Check out our video on matrix items, how we can easily establish a series of different variants. So we can establish a standard SKU, maybe pants, the make, as well as then variants in terms of size and color, which would be applicable in the apparel industry. You can see here that I've got a quantity of 1,000 and any given rate for a given rate for this, which is $34.89 per pair of pants. So you also have the ability to email this purchase order directly to your supplier or vendor. I can simply click on save and save an email over here, and that'll actually email the attachment to the vendor. And under the communication tab, you'll see that there's the actual record of that email going out. And you can drill down in to see the message and things along those lines. So you've got a full audit trail and tracking of any kind of correspondence between yourself and the vendor. So when the goods arrive at our facility, we can start the receiving process. I can either type in the purchase order number within the global search here to start the receiving process. Alternatively, I can use my reminders to actually see all the orders that are pending receipt. And as you can see here, I've got a list of both purchase orders and transfer orders if I were doing an internal transfer between my facilities. And you can see here is the purchase order that now I am going to start the receiving process. So I can simply select receive. And at this time, I'm able to start the receiving process itself. Maybe I do a count or something along those lines, and I can go ahead and receive this. I can put it away to a specific location. And then I can actually put in a receipt quantity. Now, this could be a partial receipt in some instances. It could be an over receipt. What you want to be able to do here is actually put in the received amount. I also have the ability, if I was to track a landed cost, so for example, if this item was coming from overseas, all of the ancillary costs such as freight, duties, taxes, etc., we could book that right here to be able to apportion those ancillary fees across this particular receipt and propagating those additional costs through the individual widgets as well. Then I'll go ahead and hit save. Now back on my purchase order, you can see the status is now pending bill, as well as the receipt amount on the actual purchase order line is 1,000, and I'm yet to receive a bill, and we'll walk through the billing application right now. So at some point, our vendor bill will arrive. Now, I'm currently logged in as a CFO or accounting role, and I'll use my reminders to show me all of the purchase orders rather that are in a status of pending billing. And I can go ahead and use that or click on that. And you can see here at the top of the list is my purchase order that's in a status of pending billing and a total amount here. I can go ahead and click bill over here and it's submit. Now that's going to copy all of the purchase order and receipt information over from the previous transactions into the bill. So if it had a partial receipt or anything along those lines, the quantity that you see down here would be reflective of that partial receipt. What I can then do is compare my bill to the transaction in NetSuite, and I can adjust accordingly. So in some instances, there may be a price difference. So let's just go ahead and enter 40 instead of the original $34.89. And what I'm going to show you here is the idea of a three-way match. In order for this bill to be processed correctly and with no issues, the quantity must match the receipt quantity. The price must match the purchase order price. If there is a difference, NetSuite will trigger an exception and this bill will go into an approval status where someone needs to take action and approve that particular bill. So what you're looking at here is the actual bill, and you can see it's in a status of pending approval. Now, the reason for that is that there is a price difference. I increased the price from $36 or close to $37 to $40. Now I can click on the bill exception, and it's actually going to itemize the differences here. So you'll see here that the bill amount exceeds the PO amount. There is a difference here, so someone will need to pick up the phone or contact the vendor and determine what actually happened and make the appropriate changes either within NetSuite on the transaction itself rather. So as you can see here, what I'm looking at is the actual reason behind the exception. In this particular case, the bill amount exceeds the PO amount, which means there's a delta in the price there. At this point, someone will need to take action, contacting the vendor and making the applicable changes to process the bill.